It looks like we're good. We are live. Guys, welcome to the Startup Tank, the Climate Investor Pitch Show, the show where we get the world's top climate investors, our sharks, on, alongside some of the most interesting pre-seed to pre-series A climate companies, the ones who are focused on sustainable innovation and building a better world. We like to say we invest at Forward. We invest at companies that will move the world forward. You can find out more about us at forward.vc, the number 4ward, so 4ward.vc. There you can also find our 900 plus climate investor database, where you can filter by stage, sector, geography, and check size, find your ideal investors. You can join our climate techies ecosystem of 2,000 plus climate techies. So founders, investors, ecosystem players, etc. That's at just forward.vc/techies. You can learn more about our partner in Clime Accelerator, where we invest in 1 to 2 companies and then really go all in, literally as your partner in crime, and connect you with dozens to hundreds of clients, corporates, and help land some serious traction. Today's the Startup Tank, and we've got 5 incredible companies on today. They're going to be pitching to 3 amazing investor panelists, plus yours truly, and hopefully we'll get some action for the companies. Now, the format: companies, they'll have 5 minutes to pitch, followed by about 10 minutes of Q&A, and at the end of the night, we'll choose a climate startup of the night. Now it's time to welcome in my co-panelists, Charlie Travers with Angel Ventures. You want to share a little bit more about you guys and your background?
Yes, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. So we are a VC fund that's been active since 2008. Actually, we were born as an angel investor network. And so we have 2 funds of $20 and $70 million. We have made some climate investments already. One of which, for example, is Abhiram, which works in reusable packages. In general, our region of focus is Latin America, although we do work with global entities and are working on a south to south thesis, working in developing countries.
Awesome, thanks. You wanna go next, David?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is David Weeks. I'm with Pangaea Ventures. We're a hard tech and materials venture capital firm with an office in Vancouver, which is where I'm based, and in Phoenix as well. We invest in companies primarily in the material science space with an impact focus in climate, food and water security, and human health. We're currently investing out of our 5th fund. We've been around for over 20 years. The current fund has a target of about 100 to 150 million. We're actively fundraising still, but we have made a couple of early investments out of that fund. One in a metals recycling business and called PH7, and another one in a carbon capture technology using a membrane technology. So very much strong climate focus, looking forward to being here today and to meeting the companies.
And last but certainly not least, Riley with Valia.
Hey everyone, thanks for hosting, Matt. My name's Riley. I'm at Valia Ventures. We just closed our 2nd fund last year. It's a $50 million early stage fund. So for us, that means pre-seed and seed. We're generalists by nature, so we invest across sector, but are definitely interested and have invested in climate. Most recently, we invested in a company last year called Vibrant Planet, which is in the wildfire restoration space. Really exciting team, big problem to go after here on the West Coast. Excited to hear from the companies, and thanks for hosting again, Matt.
Absolutely. And then on our side, Forward VC, we invest in hard tech and software focused on climate and sustainability. If as you grow and scale, you make a proportionally positive and awesome impact on the world and the environment, we're interested. Forward.vc for more details. The only things we really avoid are kind of carbon accounting, carbon credits, carbon markets, and carbon anything with a blockchain. So let's, without further ado, want to kick things onto the companies of tonight. Thanks for joining me, everybody on the panel, and let's kick things off to the companies. Jillian, it looks like you and your co-founder are here. Do you guys want to take things away and share?
Hello? Sure, I'm happy to do that. So I can just share my screen.
Awesome. And you'll have 5 minutes. I'll give you a 1 minute kind of shot clock warning, and you are free to go whenever you're ready.
Okay. Do you see that correctly?
I do.
Wonderful. So at PDA Ecolab, we're passionate about the mountains, and the way we contribute to protecting those environments is by decarbonising high-performance composites. And that's why we're called PDA, because we believe that passion demands action. If you ride a bike, play tennis or ski, you know that this equipment is often based on carbon fiber. It's also one of the best materials for reducing the weight of cars, trains, planes, wind turbines in order to cut greenhouse emissions during their use life. But carbon fiber also has drawbacks. It's much more expensive. It increases emissions during manufacturing. A single kilo generates almost 30 kilos of greenhouse emissions, and it's almost exclusively derived from petroleum. How then do we get the benefits of carbon fiber without those drawbacks? PDA Ecolab develops new bio-based materials that can be used alone or with carbon fiber to improve performance, reduce costs, and reduce greenhouse emissions. 1 kilo should only generate 1 kilo of emissions. As an example, we're working with a Portuguese bicycle manufacturer to replace 50% of the carbon fiber in a bicycle frame set. And this would reduce emissions by more than 40%, reduce materials cost by about a third, improve the stiffness to weight ratio, and increase impact resistance and durability. To quickly explain what a composite is, fiber yarns are woven into fabrics, and then these fabrics are mixed with a resin and molded to create a product, anything from that bicycle frame to a wind turbine blade. And PDA sells the yarns to the fabric manufacturers. These companies are looking for ecological solutions. In fact, 4 of the largest 7 manufacturers in the world launched their first bio-based fabrics in 2022. But to date, these are based solely on flax fiber, which causes a drop in performance. PDA is the only company using multiple bio-based fibers to provide a range of products with different performance and cost characteristics. In the future, our unique approach will enable us to develop a machine learning platform to automate the development of new materials that can be customized to the needs of specific applications, something that's currently impossible in the industry. The biggest competitor is carbon fiber in its current form and the more environmental versions that are currently being developed. But PDA has a strong advantage over both due to our dramatically lower greenhouse footprint in either case and our ability to improve performance. Additionally, there are other bio-based materials companies, and currently we see a very collaborative approach to this segment, growing the overall market. Terre de Lin and Deeper Steel, for example, are manufacturing partners for us, and we see Bcomp as a prospective customer. We're starting in sport because it's 10% of the total carbon fiber market. It's the earliest adopter, and our team has unique expertise and relationships here. But our fabric manufacturer customers already sell into a wide range of industries, and by helping them succeed with a sustainable offer in sporting goods, they become active partners in our channel into other markets, helping us scale more quickly, which opens up a $14 billion market opportunity that becomes even bigger in the future when we're able to replace aluminium, fiberglass, and other materials. Material sales will form the majority of our revenue, but smaller, higher margin revenue streams come from related services, patents, and upcycling our production waste. The co-founding team is highly complementary. My business partner, Lance, who's also on, has 25 years experience in R&D and innovations for sporting products. He's commercialized over 200 products and created more than 90 patents or patents pending. On my side, I have 25 years experience in B2B marketing in the tech and digital sectors, including 10 years with a cloud computing startup from all the way through from early employee to post-acquisition. Our materials have been validated at lab scale, and we're currently raising pre-seed funds to support industrialization. For that, we're raising funds in a rolling agile mode as we pass key milestones, and we're aiming to raise another 150 to 200,000 euros in this round. We've already completed 2 successful manufacturing
1
trials,
minute warning.
and we now have 2 pre-industrial trials planned. The first in June will provide a few dozen kilos of material for our first proof of concept partners. And a larger trial is planned for the autumn to supply additional qualified leads on our waitlist. Once those milestones have been met, we'll open our seed round at the end of 2023 to move into small-scale production using our existing outsourced manufacturing model, begin building our machine learning platform, and strengthen our sales pipeline. And a future Series A will be driven by decisions on the best manufacturing model for us to let us scale rapidly and meet market demand. Our carbon neutral future demands high performance, low emissions materials that keep costs in check. And that's what PDA is all about. Thank you.
And thank you. Great job with the pitch. Let me pull in our other panelists here. And while I'm doing that, a quick question. So we met a couple months back at the conference. What's happened since then? How are things going on the snowboarding and the sports market?
So things are going really well actually in that market. So since we met, I think it was about 6 weeks ago, we've validated our second manufacturing trial in terms of production, and we're continuing to move forward on those discussions in the sporting goods market. So we have another very large European ski brand on board, waiting to test the materials, and working, like I say, with that Portuguese bicycle frame manufacturer.
You wanna kick things off, Riley?
Yeah, happy to. Great presentation. I appreciate you running through that. Also a big fan of the outdoors and mountains, so love to see more sustainable materials in the space. Speaking of that, we've invested in a material science company, and I think the biggest challenge we realized there was it's easy to get thrown into R&D projects and be a test case for one company or one product, and have that be something that's unfortunately ongoing for a while. What have you been able to do early on amongst a really wide range of partners and sports and use cases to really assess if there's true buy-in from some of these customers, and if it is something that will be able to scale over time?
Yeah. So Lance, do you want to take that?
Actually, I'm sorry. Is it at all possible you could repeat that question? I dropped off. We have a storm here, and so my internet dropped out.
No worries. No worries. Hope everything's okay. Yeah, my main question was just from experience, we've seen some material science companies, both in and outside of our portfolio, get stuck in R&D teams and just be kind of like a test case or an innovation project, but not necessarily something that's translated into large scale commercialization efforts. And so I was curious if you've been able to assess that with a wide range of partners and some of your early pilots to make sure there's genuine interest and demand and ability to scale up your technology within their manufacturing process.
Well, our technology, it doesn't require significant adaptation. For starters, we've talked so far with more than 100 ski builders, approximately 50 different bicycle manufacturers at various levels, and we've started talking with people in the racket sports market. And more than 90% of the companies that we speak with are extremely interested, have identified sustainability as a top 3 necessity for company goals, and are requesting to test our materials. Does that provide a robust, universal understanding of demand? I don't know about that, but we do know that at least in the areas where we've been able to touch base with a significant audience of people, that there's been strong interest. So that, combined with the success that we're seeing with flax fiber-based composites, makes us very confident that we'll be able to transition from R&D into mainstream production.
Great, thank you.
And for investors, there are no really turns. You can raise your hand or just go. Don't worry.
Hello, and thank you very much for the presentation. Very, very exciting approach. My question comes more with the material that you're producing. You talked about performance, sustainability. I know that, for example, one aspect of bringing hemp to fabric is that it has like high stain. Maybe are there other characteristics or other considerations to take into consideration when it comes to your material and its implementation? I see that your first go-to-market is for apparel and mostly high performance.
So we're definitely not for apparel. We're effectively replacing carbon fiber in things like tennis rackets, skis, bicycle frames. Okay. To start. And so we have sorry, I've got the blur on the screen. So we have our first version of material that we call biopower, and this uses a hybridization of multiple plant-based fibers to create the performance. And there we're looking at things like density, flexural strength, flexural stiffness, tensile strength, tensile stiffness, the fineness of the fiber. And that's kind of on the mechanical side. Then we can also look at where the fibers are cultivated to get local sourcing in the future of different types of fiber and refine our recipe around that. So we're trying to take the entire ecosystem really into account. And then we also have a second material that we call core power. And this is a bio-based vibration damping filament, because as composites and things become lighter and stiffer, vibration becomes a critical factor in how they perform. And so to replace all of the petroleum-based solutions for vibration damping in composites, we've created this solution. And that we're looking at a bio-based filament that we use a bio-based adhesive to adhere a bio-based damping agent to. So.
I guess I'll go next. Yeah, really, I enjoyed the presentation, and always good to see, more sustainable materials being used for things like sporting goods, things I'm also passionate about. My question is around really, some of these, kind of almost building a little bit off of Riley's question around R&D projects. Do you have a sense from some of your early customers around the stage and the scale, the cost and the scale you would need to be at as a company yourself before you could go and start developing, sort of some of these early products at a meaningful scale where they would actually then go on and be sold to customers? How far along do you need to get? How much scale do you need to build in to your capacity?
Well, right now, our capacity is based on outsourced manufacturing. We have third-party companies who are already producing similar yarns to what we've engineered. And so we're very quickly able to spin up that capacity. In fact, we're looking at producing a few tons of material toward the end of the year. And then we've been talking with each of our partners about capacity for next year in the range between 10 and 30 tons, depending on the specific supplier and application of their material. So at that point, we can do some of these larger scale, first projects in the market. The key for us is making sure that we're able to maintain a cost that is below carbon fiber. Right now, that's selling for approximately 30 euros per kilogram. We expect our material to cost between 15 and 20-ish euros per kilo as we enter the market. And then as we achieve scale and are able to industrialize additional fiber sources, we expect to see those prices come down.
And as those prices come down, how do you see kind of your option starting to play into other markets as well that may be lower cost or less high-end luxury?
Jillian, do you want to?
So we certainly, as you say, as we get to volume, we anticipate those costs coming down. And really, the next big markets for us will be automotive and wind power, very likely. So automotive is by far the biggest consumer of these types of materials, sort of, in terms of industries. And so that's certainly a place that we'll be looking to go, and obviously, very, very cost sensitive. So
very cost sensitive, especially these days.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Especially with it looking like Elon may be going to jail, but that's a whole that's a whole nother can of worms. To keeping things on the climate and positive side. How did you two come together? What's the story? Why are you guys doing this?
I'm going to let Lance kick that one off.
So I have worked for the last 25 years in sporting equipment innovation and development. And I moved to France 6 years ago to run a research and development team for the Rossignol Group. After about 18 months, I had been there, I had seen all of the kind of waste that is generated in producing skis. I'd worked in the cycling industry for many years, and so I'd seen all of the waste and impact of those materials. And in looking at the broader application of composites and the ability to have a significant impact myself on, again, these mountain environments where we live and where we really, spend all of our time, and a place that's a passion for us, I decided that was my way that I could contribute. And so I left Rossignol to start working on this project. And after a few months, a friend of mine said, I know this wonderful woman from a business group that I'm a part of. She is leaving her startup that was acquired. And, I'd really like to introduce the two of you. And so we got together and had a very complementary skill set, me coming very much from the technical and product side, and Jillian coming from the pretty much everything else side. It was just a connection through a friend.
Not a bad way to do it.
Absolutely.
Maybe I can add one more question on top of that. As you scale to the next stage and you continue to kind of evolve your product, what are some of the big team skills that you think you need to add as you scale? Where do you feel I won't say deficiencies, but where do you feel you could really be strengthened that would help you get to that next stage?
So there are a few areas that we'll be looking to build out in addition to kind of that, building out the engineering team and what have you. We're very much focused right now on founder-led sales, but that's an expertise that we'll be looking to develop more, over the next 12 months or so. Then secondly would be the machine learning capability. So we have quite a clear understanding based on the materials development where we want that platform to go, but in terms of actually being able to implement and execute, and needing that technical expertise to do it, that's definitely an area that we'll be building out. And as we look to the future, there are decisions to be made on whether we continue to outsource production or what the best model for that is. And as we look to do that, we'll certainly be looking at potentially bringing on somebody who might have more experience in industrialization and running manufacturing.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I want to keep the program moving to make sure that everybody gets a chance to pitch, but thanks for sharing. Super interesting. And as we're talking about engineering challenges and hardware, now, how about we kick things over to Nick with Carbominer? They certainly have their work cut out for them. Nick, you want to share what you guys are doing?
Yeah, thank you. I would share my screen, and here we are. Can you see it now?
Looking good. Take it away. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Very good. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Nick. I'm a serial entrepreneur from Kiev, Ukraine. Now I lead the Carbominer project. Meet Joe. He's young and ambitious. After graduation a few years ago, he decided to help his grandpa to work in a mid-sized strawberry greenhouse near Stockholm, Sweden. However, recently they have got a problem. Like all plants, strawberries grow by taking carbon dioxide out of the air. A greenhouse is a closed system, which means plants consume the CO2 available inside in about a couple of hours. If extra CO2 is not provided, the strawberries stop growing. So Joe's grandpa does what all greenhouse owners do. He pumps in extra CO2. Where does this CO2 come from? It comes from burning natural gas grandpa uses for greenhouse heating. As a byproduct of burning, this CO2 is free, absolutely free. But it's no longer so free. For instance, in Sweden, in the last 15 years, the tax on CO2 emissions has gone up 6 times. Plus, the price of natural gas has skyrocketed this last year. Using natural gas to heat greenhouses and get the CO2 for injection is no longer an option. Of course, greenhouses can be heated using renewable electricity. But with such a switch, Joe will not have the source of carbon dioxide. Carbominer can help. We have developed a new technology for direct air capture, a very efficient one, because we created it with an ability to use intermittent renewable electricity. No one from our competitors was able to do the same. How did we do it? We divided our capturing system in 2 parts. One part for capturing has a low power consumption and could be running 24/7. The other part for a generation of carbon dioxide is more energy intensive. So it will be switched on only during hours when renewable electricity is overproduced and therefore cheap, very cheap, close to zero, or even negative, believe me or not. Negative price for renewable electricity is already happening in some countries. So our business model is about selling the locally captured CO2 to greenhouse operators. We have a target price of 160 euros per ton, and we plan to reach our capture cost as low as 90 euros per ton in 5 years. We expect our sales to reach 36 million euro in 2027. We know that we are not alone in a hot place of direct air capture. We can beat the competition because of 2 things. A mix of dry and wet capture approaches in one system, and our electrochemistry-based regeneration technology, which has the best potential for further cost reduction. To do so, we have small but very good team, innovative and able to move forward fast. So, in less than 3 years, we have developed new and efficient technology for direct air capture. We have built a working duct machine, and we have tested it in a pilot with an international partner in December. We have found a competent and interested company which can help us with manufacturing. Now we need to expand the team, to build a full-scale system and validate it next year, and to create our first production facility in Eastern Poland. We are going to start sales in EU in 2025 and plan to get to break even in 2026. To achieve this, we are raising $1.5 million in this summer. With us, carbon dioxide in the air is no longer a dangerous waste. Instead, it is a valuable feedstock for the agriculture, valuable for Joe and his strawberries, valuable for many other use cases. Thank you.
And thank you for sharing. Let me pull myself back and the other panelists back in here. And while we are doing that, quick question for you. So the business model then is purely selling the carbon back to the greenhouses. How do you plan to scale up the sales side of that? How do you plan to get more greenhouses on board quickly?
This industry is quite a conservative one. From our contacts with for customer development, we have learned that many of them are sort of happy with what they have. And well, it's an interesting trick, but we are going to use a homemade IoT system, which we made for ourselves to monitor remotely the work of our geographically distributed machines. So we recognize that absolutely the same system, the same CO2 sensor and the cloud solution works for greenhouse owners. So we want to use it as a door opener. We will provide this cheap solution and a subscription for using the services, to use our smartphones, their smartphones, to see the microclimate inside the greenhouse. And thus, they will know us. Carbominer will become small, but already a provider. It will be easier for us to reach out for them with our core business later.
Are they already paying for those type of solutions today to monitor the microclimate?
Yeah, the industrial greenhouses, I would say 5 hectare and more, they always have this microclimate monitoring or controlling solution in place, but those solutions are quite expensive. I would say, well, 3 grand, maybe 5 grand just to have the equipment and install it in the greenhouse. Our solution is just a sensor. This is the real one. This is Bluetooth-based device. We have developed everything, starting from PCB and electronics, and you can put it on the wall in the greenhouse. The data through the gateway will go to the cloud, and then the owner of the greenhouse will see it on the smartphone. So that's.
So you have 2 products and 2 businesses then?
Oh, well, no. We don't want to be considered that second option as a second business. Maybe this is a secondary revenue stream. Maybe we can reach that secondary revenue stream faster than the core one, than the main one.
Go for it, Charlie.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. My question is how much does the capturing module cost for your clients, and how much and what do they do today? I understand it's more a traditional business. You talk about friction for them to buy the capturing model or not, and yes.
Okay. Our business model is not about selling the hardware, because it would be substantial financial investment, the capex of the module for the greenhouse owners. And frankly speaking, last year and this year are not very good years for the industry. They are sort of in troubles because of many issues. And we do believe that our model could be treated as CO2 as a service. We deliver our compact and transportable machine and install it nearby the greenhouse. We connect it to the power, and we connect using just the Flexify the CO2 output or to the greenhouse. And
how much does it cost you then? How much does it cost you then? The module.
I didn't get the question.
How much does it cost you, the module and the implementation?
What is the cost for us?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we have only one machine built. It is small experimental machine, just 1 ton per year. It was crazy expensive, in the range of 10 to 11,000 $. But the module for industrial scale, which will be in the standard form factor of the shipping container, will be for 50 ton, 50, per year of carbon dioxide. And the cost for us will be starting from $70,000 $, and then I hope that in less than 18 months we can get it down to 40K, to 40 grand.
I have a question, if that's okay, Nick.
Sure.
So you mentioned during your pitch that the kinds of areas or geographical areas that you were looking to target had to have access to very low cost renewable electricity in order for the kind of the economics to work, and presumably for there to be, you know, a good kind of CO2 impact story. So my question is really kind of twofold. One is, you know, How big is that market opportunity? Have you done kind of a global geographical assessment to really understand where your system can be deployed first and how big that market is? And then subsequently, how big is the impact potential of your technology? How much, tons of CO2 per year can you reduce from being produced using traditional methods based on your technology? Have you done that kind of assessment?
Yeah, we have tried. We know what is LCA is about, and there were 2 attempts in 2 different acceleration programs to do the LCA. We know all the steps, but the biggest issue is in what you actually already mentioned when you said that the geography of working. It is next to impossible to find in advance the information about the carbon footprint of the local mix of the electricity in Munich, in Spain, close to solar farm, close to wind farm, and even the mix itself is a challenge. But for us, because the idea I already mentioned, that we are going to use not average price of the renewable electricity for the whole day, but the lowest price because of during the hours when it is overproduced. So nobody on the planet can provide the information of carbon footprint hourly, locally and hourly by hours. So this would be a challenge. From the other hand, it's easy to comment because with this business model, working for greenhouses, we are not about sort of earning carbon removal credits. It's not eligible because what they need a permanent storage. And storing carbon dioxide into the biomass of the plants is not permanent. It's like for a couple of months, for 3 months, not more. What we are doing for the impact is twofold. For greenhouse owners, we help them to decarbonize their business, because if they can stop burning fossil fuels for heating, they can improve their carbon footprint. They will be using renewable electricity for heating and using carbon dioxide for us. And if we just jump for another opportunity for doing impact, this is about more traditional ways. The pilot I told you during the pitch, and our coming second pilot in Austria, I hope next month in Vienna, those pilots are not with greenhouses. It just happened that they are with construction companies. So those companies have a great interest and appetite for DAC solution, direct air capture solutions, and they do have that interest because of the need for decarbonize their business. For example, the idea of that large construction company is to test the equipment and then to move to order next scale machine and ask us to deliver it to Munich, where they have the geothermal well, already have that. That's another project of them. And they will be pumping, mixing carbon dioxide with the water. They send that water down to obtain the heat, the thermal energy, the heating from this geothermal well. This is eligible because carbon dioxide will be mineralized down there. And for us, it is additional opportunity to our formal greenhouse-related business model. We understand that the carbon removal market is could be really big and growing quickly. So this year we applied for the frontier with the short application, and I hope they would allow us to apply in full, maybe next month.
I mean, you have to be very net positive impact-wise, because you're essentially helping capture carbon that would otherwise need to be burned to make carbon for the greenhouses. So if you assume that renewable energy is getting greener over time, you guys are getting greener over time, and your impact is going to be very large. This is one of the ones where I say, let's just do the back of the envelope math. Who cares what the numbers are, as long as it's a very significant positive forward progress, then as you guys get big and large, you decarbonize in a very large way, regardless of if it's 100 megatons or a million, a gigaton, et cetera, et cetera.
I would say that we have not yet looked so far. Our business plan for greenhouse market calls that within 5 years, the total amount of 5 years of operations, the total amount of carbon dioxide captured would be just 2 megatons. And for that, because we have compact units, we have to operate, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 3.5 thousand of our container-sized units. And well, for now, this is more or less like traditional business. We want to obtain a feedstock, a valuable feedstock, and sell it, and not thinking about gigatons.
Mm-hmm. David, you got any questions?
I had a question, but maybe Riley can jump in and ask his question.
For sure. Yeah, thanks for running through this, Nick. Appreciate it. One quick comment and then a question. So comment, I think you heard from a couple of the folks here, just questions around the financials. And my additional comment there is it feels like a $1.5 million seed round feels small relative to building hardware and scaling this up. So maybe just something to think about in your presentation to double down on some of the metrics, financials, and the funding piece. Just to make sure it's clear. And I know you only have 5 minutes, so it's tough to squeeze it all in, but one comment there. And then the question is really a little bit more about you and the team. I know you mentioned you're a serial entrepreneur and the team's small but mighty, but just curious, similar to what Matt asked previously about what brought you into this, what brought you guys together, and why you want to commit your time and energy to this.
This is a family story. My daughter Victoria, my middle daughter Victoria, I have 3 daughters and 2 sons. She's with me on Carbominer. 4 years ago, the idea just popped into my head during the family discussion. My youngest daughter Sophia, she was 3 at the time, she was sick, and family doctor was paying the visit to our apartment. And word by word, somehow I asked the doctor, how comes that it looks like the health of our kids is not so good as it was our health at that age. And the same with us. Our health is not so good as the health of our parents was. I thought this is a stupid question, but the doctor, she said, well, yes, there are scientific articles about such a phenomenon, and there are some guesses. I said, what are the reasons for that? She said, who knows? Maybe this is ecology, maybe this is the rising carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere. Nobody knows for sure. And being the engineer by education, I immediately reacted, well, if it is about carbon dioxide, why don't we put the machine for capturing carbon dioxide in the corner of our bedroom and everything will be solved? My idea was, it's not a new question. For space station crews and for submarine crews, this question of, capturing carbon dioxide and regeneration was solved decades ago. And my wife immediately said, so what shall we keep our kids inside all the time? And that was for me, starting to think what is going on out of the window, outside. That was the idea. We paid our first visit in 1 month to a big industrial greenhouse nearby Kiev. It just happened so that I knew them before Carbominer. They were a client of my previous business. And they listened to us. They said, well, nice idea, very interesting idea. And when you have something, please come back. So it looks like maybe next year I can come back. Not so fast.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. Any last questions for Nick, guys? Then thanks, Nick, for presenting. Thanks for what you guys are doing. It's super meaningful. Just a quick reminder, this is all brought to you guys by Forward VC. We've got our partner in Clime, Climate Accelerator. If you're looking to accelerate your climate company pre-seed to pre-series A and really want to get some traction with customers, clients, pilots, and get that TRL up to year 9 and some real revenue coming in, check us out, forward.vc. Now, moving things on, let's Let's grab some coffee with Marcin. How about Ecobean? You wanna take it away, Marcin? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Thank you for having us here.
Absolutely. Let me know when you're ready to share what you're doing on some pretty interesting stuff with coffee waste.
Let me share the screen with you. Can you see it?
Looking good. Take it away.
Can I move it? Just a quick. Okay. Good evening, guys. The reason I'm sitting here is because all of my professional life, last 15 years, I'm connecting two different worlds, the science and business. And Ecobean is a great proof that this is possible. We are a spin-off company from Warsaw University of Technology, and we turn coffee into green chemicals. Can you imagine the enormous volumes of coffee waste that goes to the landfill? That's a lot of spent coffee grounds, over 3.3 million tons in Europe every year. And three more things you probably don't know. Coffee is the fifth highest CO2 intensive food behind beef, pork, cheese, and chocolate. Only 2% of value of bean is used when you drink your coffee. And there is no transparency in disposal of coffee waste, but pressure to change it that is growing. Time to talk numbers. How much is that biomass worth? So that over 3 million tons equal to 20 billion euros wasted every year. Ecobean is able to extract from each ton of coffee grants at least 6,000 euro revenue in chemical compounds. What that means, we can turn waste into money, but it's not only about the waste, it's also about the impact. So our chemicals have on average 35% lower footprint than market alternatives. LCA is verified by leading bodies, and it also has a great monetization potential in carbon credits. We want to decarbonize coffee industry by offsetting 1.2 million tons of CO2 yearly after 2027. How it works? So Ecobean has achieved a proven circular ecosystem for spent coffee grounds. Thanks to cooperation with GLS Carrier Company, the biggest provider in Europe, we can collect waste from all HoReCa and offices and also instant coffee producers. All this waste is transposed to our facility. Where is the magic? In one sequential chemical and biotechnological process, we produce 5 raw materials: coffee oil, antioxidants, PLA, protein additives, and the coffee lignin. Zero waste behind, low carbon alternatives dedicated into various industries, from petrochemical, packaging, food, cosmetic, even to pharma. Sound cosmic? Many brands, leader in their fields, already believe in us and we saw our potential. We constantly increase number of our clients on both sides, so input and offtake. What makes us different? R&D is our heart. Thanks strong ties with wood. We own 3 patents, 2 more to come this year. 70 people day by day works on advancing our technology, which is already proven by Czech, our investors, multi-billion euro chemical company. What is next crucial step? We are raising 7 million euros to finance Ecobean Technology Center, our demo line, which will be springboard to achieve industrial scale. ETC already will be financially sustainable, and we are mimicking best practices from other industries like battery industry when it comes to scaling hardware business. And that's just the beginning. So in parallel, we work on an industrial scale facilities. First one is planned in Germany and second one in Finland. We want to build up to 7 biorefineries in next 5 years. How we are able to scale Ecobean into a global business? We are super proud of our deep partnerships with investors, which complement competencies and skills we lack. This allows us to seriously focusing on becoming biggest coffee recycle. Who stands behind this idea? We have a stellar team, 25 people on board right now. We are very experienced in various fields, starting from biotechnology, chemistry, engineering, surrounded by coffee business, XVC, and new product development guys. Why you should invest in Ecobean? Ecobean is like Yeti. No one has seen him yet, but he eats 2 unicorns for breakfast. Thank you and see you.
That's a very creative one. I certainly haven't heard anything like that before. Thanks for presenting, Marcin. I'm pulling the other investors in now. So are the 2 opportunities then both the same company? So you're racing for this ETC center. Is that then owned by the Ecobean kind of main corporate?
No, that will be owned by Ecobean. So we are that will be our R&D center. So we as I said, we mimicking the, let's say, battery approach. So like Tesla or Norvolt, they have their own. They starting with the rather small first industrial scale facility when all the advances in technology is implement to the industrial scales every year or every upgrade.
Are you raising equity or debt? 7 million is a lot for kind of where you're at. If it's not some debt.
For that, it's mainly equity. Yeah, of course we are applying for different for different sources, but we are prepared for that.
How much more capital will you need to commercialize?
That the next steps is around 30 to 40 million euros. The industrial scale, that will be 20,000 tons of spent coffee grounds per year.
And you've got 4 founders. Are you worried at all about this founder dilution and getting really small ownership at some point?
Yeah, we treat it like that way. This is the hardware business. We need a lot of capex, but we think this round it will be the last round in case of equity. The industrial scale it will be possible to the project finance. So we're thinking that way. So yeah.
Okay. Just jump in, guys, when you got questions.
Yeah, and just to build off that, if you can talk a little bit more about the economics, even of this first facility, the $7 million facility that you guys are working on now. I know you had the slide with several different byproducts and different revenue streams, but just would love to understand the financials there a little bit more.
Okay, so the let's say three streams of the incomes to our company. The first one for these days where is no competition on the market regarding the biomass. So our customers are paying right now for the collection. So we earning on waste collection. The second stream, very important, and let's say hard margin, the average margin on that is around 45%. We are supplying the green chemicals alternative for the existing ones to the market. So we do not create something completely new. The market for this chemical compounds already exists. We gave alternative with the lower carbon footprint. And the third one for the future, closely to the future, is the the carbonization offset. We already have the proven LCA model with Bureau Veritas, so the leading body on this field. So it's possible. For that moment, we are sure that transforming 1 kilogram of coffee waste, we are able to save at least 2.5 kilograms of CO2. So that's a huge advantage for the coffee business, which is CO2 extensive.
Just to understand the stage of the business, first is you're talking about a plant. I know that most companies before reaching that stage they monetize a little earlier on the value chain. So how are you monetizing if you're going to monetize this? With retailers, right now, for example, if you have a cost and logistical cost, that would be like the first part of my question. And the second question would be if there's already an ecosystem of plants existing, why don't you want to partner with existing plants if an ecosystem already exists, or you really have to build that yourself? See, I'm just asking, given that the high capital requirement that this entails.
Okay, so if I may, I will start with the second one. There is no such a solution, and there is no such a facilities to rent to share in case of all of our process is sequential and ongoing process, and we need to. There is no such a let's say out of the box equipment which we can take and apply in our facilities. Yeah, that's a little bit hard right now. Regarding the first question, we are in the scale, we call it it's semi-technical scale. We have the real apparatus, real equipment, steel equipment, steel reactors in the Warsaw University of Technology. So we are right now we are processing all of these compounds. We are producing this series of batches. We are with those various clients. We are in the process of validation of these chemical compounds to they in the future become our off-takers when we get the scale, because the ETC production demo line, let's call it our demo facility, will have the capacity 1,000 tons per year. And that will be our R&D center, or our training center for future engineers in the industrial scale.
And then you plan to sell the chemicals yourself or license the technology out?
For sure, the first two biorefineries, industrial raffiners, will be selling ourselves, and then we will see.
Why do you want to sell it yourself versus license it? Just devil's advocate?
Let's say our goal is to have the highest valuation. I think that's building the evaluation of the company.
I have a question, if you don't mind. So I enjoyed the pitch. A lot to take in a short time. I'm sure that there's we could dig into any one of the aspects and get a much fuller story. But my question is really around some of the kind of the supply chain and logistics. I noticed so GLS is a supply chain company, is that correct? And
yeah.
Are they mostly focused on connecting kind of the coffee waste producers with you as the kind of the processor, is that right? Or are they also involved in helping you kind of distribute the products that you're producing at the other end?
No, they are only supporting us, let's say, in the waste collection, because we're using shared logistic. So this is the special kind of service. We are I think that's the true. We are only the first startup in Europe. They decide to transporting the waste. So they convince the board. It wasn't no easy in a German level. Yeah.
Okay. So my subsequent question is, knowing that, then, see a lot of companies that do this sort of biomass type valorization, waste to value type thing. A lot of them have a lot of challenges and a lot of hurdles to overcome when they're just making one product at the other end and getting into the market and finding an off-taker and convincing them that their product is of a quality and cost that's beneficial. You had like 7 or 8, from polyphenols to lignin to all these kind of things. How are you going to manage that when it comes to an offtake and a distribution point of view? Because to me, that seems like a lot of work.
But yes, of course. Thank you for that question. And that's why let's say I present you this slide with the puzzles that we are having around us. The best companies we are attracting to work with us, the best companies, which they are best in class, and they deliver and they fulfill the lacks and the competences we do not have. And having on board such a company like Czech, I can say, probably you may know, but this is the one of the biggest chemical company. We call it Polish BASF. So having those guys on as a support, they are already interested in three of 5 products we have on.
Then why not license it? Because you guys will never be able to sell it all on your own.
Selling such a commodities, it's not so hard. It's because we do not create something. We do not have to create the market for them. So we're giving there is a market for this. There is a price you can buy it on the commodity price, and we can offer, let's say, even 5 cents lower and 45 lower carbon credits, and that's it. So we need to send an offer. We need to send a sample of batches, and it's not bringing something new and creating the new opportunity for customers. So I'm working in.
But that's like raising cows and having a raising wood that you're going to sell for forestry, and also trading gold, and also trading corn. You're trading like 5 different commodities to like five different players. It seems challenging initially. Like, what's your initial market? The other ones have to be later things, because otherwise you'll just drown.
Yes, of course, it will be possible, we will do that way, because but our technology and our know-how, you cannot choose, let's say, the PLA, which is in the middle, because you can extract or achieve this before extracting the coffee oil and the antioxidants we achieving. So regarding all the carbon footprint and offsetting the all the coffee industry, which is a very CO2 intensive, and which we can, with those application of those products, which regarding the PLA, lignin, you can imagine we can. That's the example. That's the flower pot, make 100% from the coffee waste. It's the same specification and as a plastic one. It's totally biodegradable in 3 months in soil. So this is create from the 2 things that our PLA and lignin we have. That's the story behind. We want to stop at the level of supplier and supply existing producer of final application, and we already have, let's say, such a model. When our client, our existing customers, Starbucks, we working with them on we call it infinity straw. So that's the straw made of our lignin. And when we achieve it and we prove that it works and it can be alternative for the paper one, we going with them to their existing supplier of the straws and saying we want to change it for the different material which we already will be using, and supplying us with the biomass and having and turning back something real sustainable into market to our customers.
And any other questions, folks?
Maybe just one quick one, if that's all right, because you mentioned at one point that this is a zero waste process. How are you going about this extraction of these chemicals from a technical point of view then, with zero waste? Are you not using any solvents? Is there any acid-base chemistry or anything like that?
We're using solvents. We're using solvents in closed loop. So we're using solvents like methanol. We're using ionic liquids which work in closed loop, and all additions which are put into the process, so kind of enzymes or any different things ends up in the final products, in our raw materials. So let's say from one ton of spent coffee grounds, we are achieving more than 1.5 ton of ready products.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Then thanks for pitching, Marcin. I still think you're biting off a very large elephant at once, but that's on you to figure out and make it happen.
It's really easy to let's explain it in 5 minutes, but it was a great pleasure.
No, you did a great job, and I wanna hand things over now to our last company of the night, Novus Bikes, who's doing a little bit something different with electric motorbikes and a pretty cool new design. Hannes, you wanna share what you guys are doing?
Yes, for sure. Give me just a second. We're gonna prepare the presentation.
Sounds good.
So,
standing desk?
Yeah, for sure.
It's the way to do it.
For more volume in the voice.
Mm-hmm.
So just a second.
And if you guys are listening to this and trying to fundraise, we've got our 900 plus climate VC and accelerator database, just forward.vc/VC database. And if you haven't joined Climate Techies, we've got 2,000 plus climate investors, founders, folks in there all across Slack and WhatsApp. Just forward.vc/techies for more details and to join.
So Can you see the presentation, or should I go in the presentation mode?
Looking good. Yeah, take it away.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, let's start. Welcome on everybody. I'm Hans. I'm the COO of Novus. And imagine in last year, only 4% of motorbikes were electrified. And what you see here is that the tipping point of e-cars that happened in 2018, where the numbers doubled up each year, happens now in the motorbike industry. And what we see is that the OEMs, the big companies, don't position themselves. They are waiting. They are waiting as same as 2018, and they lose the traction because they are waiting and don't be the first mover. We want to be one of the first movers. We want to inspire on the whole industry to change to electric motorbikes. That's why we built Novus, the first urban premium electric motorbike. Our customers are looking for a contemporary mobility. So a mobility that is 2030 and 2023, a mobility that fits to their needs, to their demands, because there are people, they wear, for example, an Oura ring, but not a conventional ring, or they wear an Apple Watch, but not a normal watch. And that's what we offer. And our bike, compared to the market, is definitely faster and much smarter. So we have, for example, just a few numbers, just 100 kilograms, 400 newton meters on the back wheel, 1.9 seconds to 50. That's one of the fastest things you can drive in the city. But what's much more important is how digital Novus is. We build a whole digital ecosystem around Novus. For example, we track all the vehicle data. We have an OEM data analysis system in the background. We offer, for example, partners of us fleet management systems, but also for our future business models. And we have a huge ecosystem and marketplace in future for our customers, for the user app. So you can handle everything from Novus with the app. For example, keyless go, paid systems to upgrade the motorbike, remote control, or over-the-air updates. With Novus, we tackle at the first step at the market entry, the largest bike sector. What means the largest bike sector? It's the 125 cubic centimeter class. At this sector, that's especially positioned in the urban mobility, and that's one of the largest classes of motorbikes worldwide. And what we can do with our digital intelligence, we can start with just a 50 cubic centimeter by digital limitations to offer everybody with a car license a Novus bike, and after they did their motorbike license, but the small one, they can upgrade by over-the-air updates to 125 cubic centimeters. We call our target group the contemporary urban people, and we have 3 different target groups we targeted first. There are high net worth individuals that want to buy a Novus because they love it, because they love the emotion they get with the power, the performance, but also with the unique design. And we target on the bikers, but just with 20%, because our first product offers us or helps us to reach a total new target group. We call them digital generations. There are people that can't imagine to drive a motorbike before, because for them, motorbikes were, for example, how is it called? How can I say it? It's steam engines on 2 wheels, and they love the lean design. They love the light agility. They love the digital product that we offer with Novus, and that's a total new target group we can target in the motorbike market. In the position, we are one of the only premium motorbikes, especially in the urban mobility, and there is already a price awareness for these kind of products, because compared to other motorbikes, we are not one of the most expensive, but we combine a higher
1 minute
high
warning
performance in the lower class with a price that there is already a price awareness for. Our business model is based on three pillars. D2C, B2C, and B2B2C. What means B2B2C? B2B2C, that's based on a mega trend that's called vehicle as a service. And especially here, we see a compound annual growth rate of 35% to 2032. And with our product strategy, so we start with a limited product, we start with a high price product, with a premium product to target, to build a brand, to be cost efficient. And later on, we build new products.
Time is up.
Oh, it's already up. Okay.
Where are you? Yeah. Where are you guys at today? What stage are you at? How much are you guys raising? What are you looking for?
So what we are looking for 5 million. 5 million. That's on late seed funding. So that's the first external funding round we do on a valuation of 18 million, because the founder Rene did the first investments on himself, and the team we have is very strong in the automotive industry. So Rene was 7 years research and development at Volkswagen, and also did the design of the Volkswagen Golf 8, for example, but also of the ID. Bus that's released a few weeks ago. He did the interior design, and we have a team of 17 people. They are all from the automotive industry and from related industries in the market.
Why do you think that you guys can do this when it is such a big and hairy problem to crack not a new car company, but a new motorcycle company?
That's a very good question. To be honest, nobody can say he can build a total new brand without problems. But you need people with experience, of course. You need people with passion, and you need people and a team that have the power to tackle challenges. For example, Rene did the whole prototyping 12 years beside his full-time job at VW. He did the design in his studies, and then afterwards 10 years he built, for example, just a prototype with a lean process in his bedroom. He did everything at home 10 years long. During he was one of the most successful interior designer at Volkswagen.
If he could do it 12 years ago, why now? Generally, one of the questions we have is, why now? Why not 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, that's a good question. He started doing it full time in form of a company 2019. 2019, during he was at Volkswagen, he said to his friend Marcus, hey, let's go with our design to the CES in Las Vegas. Just take holiday on Volkswagen, go to CES in Las Vegas, and then he showed the first prototype. And with his first prototype, he got a request from Elon Musk. Elon Musk, the secretary of Elon Musk, called them the next day and said, we want to buy your prototype. And then he declined, because he said, okay, wow. After one night of thinking, of doubting, he said, wow, when Elon Musk wants to buy our prototype, this needs to be something special. This needs to be something we should continue in our mission. And he didn't design it for changing the industry. He designed it for inspire the industry. And now we realized the whole product, the team, the founder, all of us have the potential to change the industry. For example, we met at Hello Tomorrow conference in Paris. We met Anne Mettler. Anne Mettler, she works for Bill Gates, invests the money of Bill Gates in Europe. And she said, if there is a Tesla in the automotive industry, in the car industry, then there needs to be a Tesla in the two-wheeler industry. And he did it in a public post on LinkedIn and said, we have the potential to be the Tesla of two-wheelers. I hope that answer your question a bit.
Yeah. Riley, Charlie, David?
For sure. Yeah, happy to jump in. Appreciate the presentation. Definitely a space that's evolving. A lot of these e-bikes are coming to market now. Space I'm passionate about. I used to actually race motorcycles, so love to see the innovation here. My question is really about something you mentioned in one of your slides around the B2B2C business model. You said that would be 70% of the business. I wonder if you can share a little bit more there. It almost seems like maybe people are renting them, but I wasn't sure who the customer was and how that would actually play out. If you could share a little bit more on that.
Yeah, of course, for sure, because that's one of the most important things. How to bring a high-priced product to the customers. We focus on to make it a bit more general. We focus on two people. We focus on the people who buy the bike, and we focus on people who rent the bike. Because what we realized during our travelings through all Europe to do test drives, to do customer interviews, we realized that the people want, especially the young people, don't want to buy something anymore. They want to rent, and that's where we realized that the VAS, so the vehicle as a service business model, could be something for us. So that's after we realized there is a new potential for us to reach a total new target group that have never thought about riding a bike. And then we did customer interviews, and at the customer interviews we've seen, okay, the people want to rent it. They are open to pay, for example, 500 euros per month just to have it for a season, but they don't want to buy it anymore. So we have two target groups: high net worth individuals and the electrified bikers who buy the bike, and the digital generations who rent the bike. And what we did after the interviews, we talked to the industry. We talked to the subscription industry. We talked to Finn. We talked to Webular Car, Like to Drive, Fleet Pool, and so on, and find out how the digital how this business model works, and is it an option for us to do it on ourselves, or to work together with existing platforms. That's one of the next steps we're gonna find out in the next weeks.
Got it. Awesome. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be learned from the e-scooter space, both benefits and some negatives. A lot of companies in that space have moved to subscriptions to varying levels of success. So maybe some of that will play out in this industry as well, but I think it's a smart business model to try.
And what I want to share with you is, on the one hand, the market potential of electric motorbikes. So there is a compound annual growth rate of about 20% global and about 30% in Europe in the next years. So that shows how huge our market is. But in addition, we tackle a total new target group, and that are the digital generations. And on this, the CAGR of VAS is much higher than the CAGR of electric motorbikes. So we think, and that's what we're going to find out in the next month, that we can combine both potentials.
Maybe I can follow on. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, even if vehicle ownership is declining and lots of young people don't want to get a license.
Sorry, could you repeat it?
I was going to say, even as vehicle ownership is declining steadily and most people, or lots of people, are deciding not to get a license.
Yes, because for sure they don't decide to buy cars or motorbikes anymore, but they're gonna use, for example, sharing. They're gonna use subscription models, and therefore they need a license. But the license will be for our product at the first point, for the first step, lower. The entry level of the license will be lower, because you can do, for example, if you have already a car license, you did it with 18. If you are from a suburban region, you need a car license, because the transport system is not prepared for outer urban mobility. So in the urban regions, of course, Vienna, Paris, you don't need a license anymore, but at the suburban areas you need it. And if you have for example, in Germany, a car license, you can do an A1, so the smaller motorbike license, with just 8 hours of practice, but without a test.
David, sorry for cutting you off.
Sure. Yeah, no worries. I mean, I think my question is going to be kind of along the same theme, because I always get a little bit nervous when I hear about people wanting to kind of create a new market, or establish a product in a market that, maybe the customer hasn't necessarily thought about that solution or that product before. So kind of building off those questions around customer discovery, what was some of the things you heard, or maybe a better way to say it, what were the kind of questions you were asking, and the responses you were getting to make you so convinced that this was a market that you could convince or could get on board with purchasing your solution or your product?
So that's not only a question we ask ourselves. That's also a question the whole industry asks itself. And there are very much smarter people than me that ask the question to experts, that ask the question to the target groups, and find out that we are now at the tipping point of the electric motorbike industry. So that means the industry will double up each year because, of course, young people prefer, for example, sharing models. Young people prefer not to buy anymore, but there is still a need for especially premium mobility, especially in the lower industry. So the lower priced industry. If you, for example, pay 2,000 for a scooter, you think, okay, shall I buy 2,000 for a scooter, or shall I buy the ticket for 1 year or for 4 years or 5 years of the urban transportation system? But especially in the premium mobility, there is still a need for showing that you care, but also for showing that you're unique. And especially the individualization is a trend on the other side that rises. The people want to be free. The people want to be they want to decide on their own what can they do each day. And it's a bit hard to answer the question, but there are so we focus on a market that's already existing, but it's rising in the next years. So that's not a question if the market exists, because the market exists already. For example, we have competitors in the market. For example, we have Cakebike. Cakebike is one of the most successful most successful electric motorbike supplier in the market, and they sell each year more and more of vehicles. Or also Zero, for example, they have actually a valuation of 500 million. Also, for example, Zero motorbikes from Spain, they have a valuation of 500 million. That are companies that tackle the same market, but they showed that not only the industry believes in the market, also the investors believes in the market. And as I said, there are a lot of much more people. They are much smarter than me. They did customer interviews, they did market analysis, and they showed us that there are a few trends: vehicle as a service, electrified motorbikes, individualization in the market, the necessary and the need for premium, and so on. That gives us the confidence to say that we could be the Tesla of two-wheelers, but the market can make a story than the electrical market did in 2018.
Have you pre-sold any? If you want to be Tesla, why not be Tesla?
Sorry?
Have you pre-sold any? If you're going to go the Tesla route of, why not pre-sell them?
Yeah, of course. We started pre-selling in the last month. We have reservations of 240 motorbikes, but actually, and that's what's one of our weaknesses. We focus too much on the product in the last years. We focus too much on building a unique and a high performance motorbike, and a motorbike that's based on a digital ecosystem. We focus too much on that and too less on the market, to be honest. But that's something we're going to change now. So as I said, we want to raise 5 million. There is a minimum 1 million for the market entry, and we want to include in the 5 million investor pool 1 million by angels. So we want to include 1 million by we want to grow our ecosystem by angels that can help us building a company like a Tesla of two-wheelers. For example, we got on yes. So one of our new angels and also board advisors is a former CEO of Audi. He was several years CEO of Audi and also bides for Audi Ducati, for example. So he's one of the biggest experts in the market, and he, for example, now is one of our is part of our ecosystem and helps us to build a company like we want to build.
What's your big goal with this company? Where do you want it to get to?
So at the first step, we want to inspire the industry to the transition to electric motorbikes, because as I said at the beginning, almost 95.6% in last year were combustion engine motorbikes. We want to inspire the whole industry as Tesla did in 2018.
Why don't you just go to
and
Tesla
earlier.
then? I mean, you would be
Yeah.
like the perfect addition. You said you already liked the product. You don't have the sales and distribution, and it has the kind of sexy kind of appeal to it. Why not just go to them and let them add another product line?
That's a very good question. When we talked to Elon Musk's secretary in 2019, we asked also for we also discussed with them why they don't build a Tesla a motorbike on their own. And there is a story from Elon Musk. So he had an accident, or he or one of his friends had an accident with motorbikes, and then he decided not to build Tesla for two-wheelers. But he were such impressed by our prototype, so that he said he wanted to buy it for his own, not to drive, but only to have a look at it and to have it to own it. And we say Tesla two-wheelers because Tesla did what we want to do in 2019. He inspired the whole industry, and he forced the whole industry to change. And that's what we want to do now, because now is the tipping point for the electric motorbikes. And to be honest, to compare with other products or other brands, I think Lucid would be a better example, because Lucid is positioned in the premium sector more than Tesla is now. But what Tesla did, they inspired people, they inspired a whole public. So he inspired the whole world to change to electric cars. And this year, Tesla was the most sold car worldwide. So that's for us a success story and hero story in transition of an industry, but also in inspiring of the whole world that we want to run for.
But you don't even need him to buy it. If he just invests in it and tweets it, you guys sell 20,000 motorcycles. I mean,
so what's the
cult
plan?
following?
Yeah, it's a good discussion. So what we now do is we send Elon Musk, because we declined the request for buying our prototype, but we agreed that he gets one of the first series production bikes. We start with the series production next year. So with the 5 million, we can sell the bikes at the middle of next year. We need about 10 months for the homologation, and then we already have a series prototype fleet of four driving motorbikes. And with the first bunch of production bikes, we bring one to Elon Musk, and maybe later on he wants to invest. At the beginning, he gets one bike for his own, but if he is impressed, and if we prove the success story we are currently talking about, then it's of course an option to offer Tesla getting one of our investors, not to sell the company. That's something we wouldn't do, but to include them as an investor and part of our ecosystem. That's something we would do, but we won't sell the company to them.
Awesome. Thanks for the questions and the answers. Anything else, folks? What else do you guys want to know?
Yeah, maybe one quick follow-up one from me. I know you had a slide also about the market, and there are a handful of other companies in the space, but you really tried to focus on the digital experience. Can you give us some examples of what that would look like for a user? What are some of the things that they would get through that digital experience with your bike that they wouldn't be getting with others?
As I said a few the discussion before, we want to include angels into our ecosystem. That helps us to grow the company, to scale the company, but also to develop our products. At the beginning, we have a digital ecosystem that's based on several services just in our own app. So we have the My Novus app for our customers. They have a keyless go. They have a geo tracking. They have a remote control. They have an integrated navigation. They have paid services to upgrade the product. They have so many different features they get by us. But what we want to do is we want to build a marketplace to because what we believe is that we are not the most smartest people on the earth. We are not the people who invent everything. We focus on the best bike. We focus on a digital ecosystem. But there are so many people that focus on just one thing, and this one thing could be something that we could include in our marketplace, in our digital ecosystem. So there are so many ideas what you can do. There's, for example, a company in the bike market, in the bike industry. They build an AI, so digital intelligence that analyzes your driving style, that analyzes how you can improve the performance by driving, but how you can improve the efficiency, for example, to use less energy. So there are so many opportunities and functions we don't build on our own, but we include by our marketplace.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Anything else, guys?
So I have time, so if you want, or we can continue.
No, all good. We gotta move it on to the last segment. I would say if you send one to Elon, don't pull an Elon and pretend like self-driving works, because no hands with a motorbike might be problematic.
Yeah, at the beginning it will be.
It will be very problematic. Thanks for coming on. And now we transition things over, guys, to the panelists and our last segment of the show, which is Climate Startup of the Night. Who were you guys most interested and excited about? If you were going to set up a meeting, one or two companies that you really would think would be a good fit, or you see a big upside on a venture bets perspective, who would you want to call out and why? David, Zoom seemed to put you up top, so you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, big question. It's a lot of pressure right off the bat. So, I mean, from the perspective of our fund and the companies that have presented today that I think would be most interesting to us, and the ones that I think have present with some interesting opportunities. PDA Ecolab, I really enjoyed the conversation around that. I thought, it looked like there was some good opportunities to get in with some early customers around the sporting goods, and certainly anything that can enable sort of better quality products that are not using carbon fibers, using instead a sort of bio alternative, is something that would be interesting to us. And the other one is Ecobean. I thought there was just so much so much hidden within layers within that deck that I wanted to ask more and more questions on, to understand the process, the chemistry, the benefits, the markets. I think I would want another conversation just to understand a little bit more and a little bit deeper on that. So for me, those were the two. I thought everyone did great, but those were the two that sort of resonated most with me.
I think I could agree with that as well. It looks like I'm number 2, thanks to Zoom. PDA Ecolab was definitely my favorite, because I think they have the clearest vision and a big impact and business potential. I was really interested in Ecobean. I didn't realize I was as interested until I saw the presentation. But then the one thing I do worry about, especially as someone who tries to do too much, is the trying to do too much. And I think that could be a challenge for them going forward. So I would put it at 1 and 2 that way. Charlie?
Yeah, sorry to follow you guys, dude, but yeah, definitely for me, PDA Ecolab was the presentation that stood for me as, even though I'm no expert in any of the verticals that was shown at, I really liked the presentation. It was landed. I thought it was very well responding to the problematic of carbon fiber, and I liked how the business model was adapted to it. I think and I think it went well, and the vision is landed. I want to say that I was actually most interested in the Ecobean presentation coming in. I thought that the presentation could have been better, to be honest. I thought it was a little dispersed, and I think that there's a really interesting opportunity there. I have my worries about fundraising with such a business model, but so yeah, definitely PDA Ecolab in general.
And Riley, last but certainly not least.
Yeah, I feel like the best groups are when there's strong disagreement, but unfortunately I can't contribute to that here. Also felt like PDA Ecolab was the strongest of the four for at least for us in terms of a follow-up meeting. And maybe just one comment on each of the others. I think with Nick and Carbominer, love the personal story. I think it's good to hear about a why with a business, and that was really clear with your daughter, Nick. I think it's a great reason to start a business, and so loved hearing that. I think Ecobean had the best designed slides. It's something some investors care more about than others. We certainly do. I think we appreciate that founders put a lot of time into their decks and presentation. Felt that was the best designed presentation we had, and some real momentum behind the business. And Novus bikes sounds like a really impressive team. Sounds like an amazing angel investor to bring into this round. And the product, partially I'm most excited about as an individual. So yeah, great work from everyone, but share the similar sentiment that PDA Ecolab was the strongest of the four for us.
Awesome. Then congrats PDA Ecolab. Congrats Jillian for coming on, pitching, dominating. Congrats everybody for coming here and doing this and what you guys are doing. All the visions and missions are meaningful. I think they can all be big impact. I think you've all got potential, but you kind of have to choose a favorite, especially in the venture game. Where is the best place for people to find and connect with you? Riley, you can go first this time.
Yeah, for sure. Just by email. I'm old school. So just my first name, Riley@valia.vc. So first name @valia.vc. Feel free to reach out.
Go for it, Charlie.
Yeah, you can reach out on LinkedIn. I already received some notifications, so I'm pretty active there. So go ahead.
Awesome. And David?
Yeah, similarly, LinkedIn or email. More than happy to take a call with someone if you want to have a deeper conversation. David@pangaeaventures.com. I'm always keen to learn and meet people in the ecosystem and to connect. So feel free to drop me a line.
And you guys should know where to find me by now, but if not, forward.vc, the number 4ward.vc. We invest in companies that move the world forward, like some of the ones you see here. If you want to apply for our Accelerator, our partner in Clime program, it's forward.vc/accelerator. We've got our database on our site of 900 plus funds and incubators, accelerators. So you can find your ideal investor for all clean tech and climate companies, forward.vc/VC database. And if you want to connect with our climate techies group, forward.vc/techies. We've got WhatsApp groups and communities dedicated to energy, manufacturing, materials, construction, transportation, anything and everything. You can find kind of your niche to plug in with some super connected climate techies. It's forward.vc/WA, as in WhatsApp. You got to have WhatsApp. And that's everything. If you want to apply for an upcoming session, we'll do this again in 2 weeks. It's just thestartuptank.com. Would love to see you guys there. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and have a great one. Yeah, cheers.